Notion can be a useful tool to keep track of your timesheets for yourself or with others. Whether you need to keep track of your time to maintain your productivity or need to submit your hours to clients, in this video I wanted to show you how to create a very basic timesheet that you can build off of. Let's dive right in. Let's first start with an empty Notion page, and I'm going to title it Timesheet Template. And next we can go ahead and add an icon. I'm going to click icon and add a clock here. And we can also add a cover photo if you'd like by going to change cover, unsplash, and I'm going to choose something relating to time. And then next I'm going to click the three dots here to do small text full width, just so that we have more space on the page to work with. Next, let's go ahead and add an inline database by typing /inline. I'm going to title this one Timesheet. Click the three dots here and hide database title so we only see the view tabs. And the next thing I'm going to do is start adding properties. So instead of the name, we're going to title this one task. I like to add a sample item inside of databases to see what properties are needed. So I'm going to go ahead and add a sample task here, answering client questions. And we're going to add some properties by clicking plus add property. We're going to need to add a date property. So I'm going to click the search here, look for date, and I'm going to rename this one start time. Next, we're going to duplicate this one and then rename this one end time. And the next feature I'm going to add is going to be a button to set the start time and end time when you click it. So that way it's going to make it really simple to track your time instead of having to click here and adding the times manually yourself. So to do that, we're going to add button properties. We'll search for button, and I'm going to move this over to the left side and rename this one start. And then I'm going to duplicate it again and rename this one to end. So now we have start and end. And what we want to do is that when we click start, it's going to automatically timestamp that to the time that you click it. So to do that, we're going to click this property here and then edit automation. And then we're going to set up this automation. So when the button is clicked, we want to edit the property, which is that the start time is the time triggered, and we can save that. So now if we just test it out, I'm going to click start and it's logged the start time for me. And next we're going to do the same thing with the end time by clicking here and then edit automation. Button is clicked. The new action is going to be edit property end time to time triggered and then save. So now if I click end, it should now stamp the time that I ended the task. So I'm going to click end. And as you can see, it created the correct end time. And the next thing I'm going to add is a button so that if you click it, you can automatically create a new task page and start it at the same time so that it's very automated in its process. So I'm going to go ahead and type /button up here. And this is going to be called start new time tracking. And I'll add an emoji here for start. And when the button is clicked, what I want to do is add a page to this data source. So I'm going to choose the timesheet here and make sure that this database name matches this database name here. And the task will be untitled. I'm going to edit the property start time to be the time triggered and then done. So now it's going to be very automated. If I click here now, it's going to create a new page in here. And it has the correct timestamp as well. So this makes it really easy to get started with your time tracking. And one more thing I'm going to implement is to add the sort. So we want to see the most recent ones at the top. So I'm going to sort it by start time. And I want it to be by descending. So we see the newest one at the top and save for everyone. So now when you click here, they're all going to go up at the top, so you can then add the task in later and then click end to end that task. So I'm going to delete these. And one more thing I'm going to do is now remove this page icon by going to the settings and then layout, and then I'm going to hide the page icon so it looks cleaner like this. And I'm going to move over the columns a bit to the left so that the column widths are cleaned up. Before we move on to the hour calculating formula, I wanted to introduce you all to the sponsor of today's video, i10x. i10x can help you save time and costs by allowing you to access most major AI models and specialized AI tools in one place without individual subscriptions. As you can see in the chat, you have access to many different models. Personally, I like to also use the chat arena to see the differences in answers I get between two different ones. There's also AI image generators, SEO content creation tools, and more. The Discover area allows you to see all the tools available, including ones created by i10x. I tried out the image generator to see what it would come up with for a background for a Notion page. In general, I think it's a fantastic way to explore what's possible with AI without constantly switching tools and signing up for multiple subscriptions. If you're interested, you can check out the link in the description for more information. Now let's get back to the tutorial. Next, let's go over how to calculate the hours based on the start time and the end time. To do that, I'm going to adjust the sample here just so that it's very clear. So I'm going to do 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. So it should calculate it to be 1 hour. And then I'm going to click the plus sign here and then look for formula. And then I'm going to rename this one to be hours. So now we have hours here. To edit the formula, we can click inside of the box here and then start writing out our formula. To do this, we're going to be using something called date between, which is going to calculate the time between two dates. So in this case, we have our end time and our start time like this. And then we actually want to see the minutes so that we can actually get an accurate count. So we have 60 minutes and then we're going to divide this number by 60 to get the hour count. And the reason we don't do this with the date between itself is because it actually rounds up the number. So I'm going to do minutes, divide by 60, and then if I click out, you'll still see 1 here. But let's say that now if I put 4:30, it should be 1.5 hours. And one other thing I'm going to add along with this is going to be a calculation. So we want to click the property and then click calculate, and we're going to do more options and sum. So now we see 1.5 as the sum of the hours, which makes sense if you're tracking multiple tasks. So I'm going to click this again. And the task for this one is going to be working on template build. Then if we were to click the end time, it would add up the hours to the sum. So to speed up this process, I'm going to pretend it's 3:30 that I started, and then I'm going to click end. And now we have 0.5. So it summed it to 2 hours total. So how you can use this is either as like a daily log, or if you want to have multiple timesheets for different clients, for example, so you can keep track of them. That's another way to use this timesheet template. I wanted to cover a few more additional features that you can add or consider adding here. So you could do things like adding a tag, for example. So if I put select and then let's say that this is building and this is admin work, and you want to see the number of hours you're spending on building versus admin work, you can click here, group, and then group by the select. And then what's interesting is then you can click here, show aggregation, and then you can do the sum of the hours. So you can see 1.5 hours here, 0.5 here. So that's another way you can adjust this template. Another thing you could do is if I duplicate this one, and let's say that this one is called monthly reports, you can group them by the date. So I'll group it by start date and date by month. And if you want the newest first, we'll do that. And then you'll see November like this. So, and then let's say that we have another one here, but this one was in October. You could also calculate the timesheet based on every month as well. So I hope that this gives you a good start on how to utilize this timesheet template for various use cases. If you want to use a pre-made solution, I have a built-out timesheet Notion template also available on the store. So that template looks something like this. You'll be able to see your in-progress tasks, monthly overviews, and a view all of your timesheet entries, as well as see your time allocation based on projects in categories like this and how much it costs. So it also has a built-in feature to calculate the billable hours. So if you tag it by billable or non-billable, it's going to sum it correctly based on that. You can also see it by person as well. So you can see who on your team is spending how much on each task. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to check out the pre-made timesheet Notion template or the link to the sponsor i10x, be sure to check out the links in the description. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I hope to see you all in the next video.